Hello everyone. So we are meeting after a long time and I want to say sorry because of my absence. I was indulged in some documentation and administrative work, so I was not able to make some videos. But now a few days back something happened, very tragic happened, and I think I should talk about it. And that is Taiwan earthquake tragedy. There was a huge earthquake in Taiwan and seismologists are still debating about it was 6.9 or 7.2, but by looking at the videos, by looking at the intensity, it is my view that it is at least 7. Not I am not going for 6.9, I am not going for 7.2, but it was at least 7 or more than 7, because as you can see in some of the tragic videos, the earth is we can see the earth literally shaking, we can see the train shaking, trees shaking, and it was a complete disaster. It was a red alert, red range disaster. Before going diving deep into the tragedy and how it happened, I want to show you some videos so you guys just know the intensity of.
This is the biggest one we felt yet. This is definitely the biggest one we felt yet. It's still going, still shaking. Still shaking. Oh. Wow.
có học này à? Giờ chỉ là có tòa ấy. Cái gì vậy?
哦，把瓦斯关起来一下，我的身上。在我房间吗？哎，那个 seven 有没有人呐、
天啊，太扯了，太扯了！房子倒了，房子倒了！干，刚才真的是摇超大，
腰超大，
太扯了，太夸张了！
哎呀，桥都断掉了啦，这个都整个都垮掉。我看不要过去哈，等一下可能还有余震呢。
那边断掉了。
全部都断掉啊！现在怕桥上的车子啊，整个都倒掉了啊，整个桥都断了啦。 现在是怕说桥上的车子麻烦呢。哇，这规路拢还了去啊。嗯，刚才有的很厉害，大概7、8级有的了。现在是怕说，刚才桥上有车子啊。OK。
So as you guys saw, how tragic and how intense this earthquake was. Okay, we can literally see that with the camera, entire earth is shaking, and we can see the terror in the eyes, in the body language of those people who were in the interim of this earthquake. Okay, so I am here to give my perspective as an oceanographer. What does it mean to me? I want to explain you how it happens and why it happens. Okay, previously we have talked about plate boundaries, but this is one such example when we can see those plate boundaries in movement. Okay, so I am here to explain as an oceanographer that what has went wrong and what could go went wrong in future. Okay, so in the map here which I have put for you guys, you can see this Taiwan is an island, okay, near to this country China. In previously we have seen how much geopolitical turmoil is going between China and Taiwan. Okay, so China sits on a plate called Philippine plate. Okay, it's written also here Philippine sea plate. Okay, and it is on the edge of this Eurasian plate. Okay, we also know that Eurasian plate also touches India in the Himalayan region where Indian and Eurasian plate meets. Okay, now one might ask this question, why it is written Philippine sea plate? Okay, why not just Philippine plate? Why Philippine sea plate? So in the tectonic theory we have two kind of plate. One is our continental plate and other is our oceanic plate. Okay, or how it is written here is sea plate. Okay, these two kind of plate are very different in their characteristics. Okay, they are different in their characters because they are made up of different materials. Okay, now we'll see how they are different and how different plate when they interact does a different kind of damage, or when the different kind of plate contract with each other in sea and on continent, how differently they make different landforms. So now we'll see the mechanism of these plates in ocean, and again we go to the Taiwan map to understand it. Okay, so firstly we'll talk about continental plates. Okay, now continental plates are primarily made of graphite. Okay, this is the material which will primarily you will find in the continental crust. The base of continent, I am not saying that all the material is graphite, but the base of continental crust is graphite. Okay, now if we see our earth structure, this will be our crust, and then there will be asthenosphere. Okay, and then there will be mantle. Okay, so now we have two layers. Let's say this is crust which is of graphite and this is mantle. Now with respect to mantle, graphite shows positive buoyancy. If you remember, when I was teaching you the plate boundaries, I said I will talk later about positive and negative buoyancy. So today is the day. So graphite shows positive buoyancy with respect to the mantle. Now, what is positive buoyancy? If we see the density concept, ideally low density objects or molecules should be up and high density molecules or objects should be on the downside. Okay, above high density things, low density things should come. That means if something is showing positive buoyancy, it is satisfying this situation. That means our mantle is highly dense than the graphite. So that's why graphite is showing positive buoyancy with respect to mantle, because it is above it. Okay, graphite is low density, mantle is high density, and as graphite is above the mantle, it is showing us the positive buoyancy. Okay, that's why, let's say this is my one plate, this is my another plate. Okay, when they converges, they will go up like this. Okay, why? Because of this positive buoyancy thing, those both plates will go up, and that's the same thing happens in Eurasian and Indian plate. Okay, if you see both Indian and Eurasian plate, they are both continental plates. On both of them continents are there, so they are made primarily of graphite. They both show positive buoyancy. That's why when they converge, it makes Himalayas, it goes up, because of the density theory, low density things should go up. Okay, is that clear? Now entirely different thing happens when it comes to the oceanic plate. How? We'll see. Now we'll see second thing, which is our oceanic. Now oceanic plate is primarily made is basalt. Now this basalt shows negative buoyancy. Okay, this shows negative buoyancy. Now negative buoyancy means if this is my oceanic plate, okay, primarily made up of basalt, and there is my mantle inside earth. Now this basalt material is highly dense than this mantle. Okay, in comparison to mantle, it becomes low density, lower density, but still it sits above the mantle. The high density things, when it sits above the low density things, this situation will become of negative buoyancy. Okay, this creates a situation of negative buoyancy. And what in negative buoyancy happens when two of my oceanic plate or any of the plate in ocean will converge, one will go beneath the other, the subduction will happen. Okay, because it is negatively buoyant, it is there is a natural pull towards the mantle, because low density wants to sit over the high density, so there is a natural pull downwards, and hence in convergent plate boundary it makes trenches. In above we saw when the plates are converging, it is making mountains. Okay, here we can mountains, but same thing in ocean will make trenches. Okay, same thing in ocean will make trenches because of this positive and negative buoyancy. Is that clear? Both why oceanic plate and continental plate works different, just because of difference in the buoyancy. Continental plate shows positive buoyancy, oceanic plate shows negative buoyancy. So now we can clearly see in this map that this is on this periphery and the edge of this Eurasian and Philippine plate. One is our oceanic plate we have seen, and one is our continental. So we have seen when oceanic plate meet, we have seen when continental plate meet. Now what will happen when one oceanic and one continental plate meets? Let's see. So let's say this is my Eurasian plate, E plate. Remember, this is a continent, positive buoyancy. Okay, there is my Philippine plate. Okay, P plate I will denote it. Philippine plate, it is an oceanic plate, okay, which shows negative buoyancy. Okay, now after convergence, if we see Eurasian plate ideally will go in the upward direction because of the positive buoyancy it has. Okay, and Philippine plate will go down to it because of the negative buoyancy of oceanic plate, because it is made up of basalt, right? Correct. This is my Philippine plate. Okay, so this area where the bend is happening is known as subduction zone. Okay, and these subduction zones all around the world are responsible for the earthquakes. Why? Because this area is highly agile, non-stationary, dynamic, and always moving. Okay, there will be constant sliding and movement in both of this plate. There will be a friction, and in the subduction zone, and within the subduction zone there will be creation of fault zone. Now fault zone, wherever there will be a fracture in this fault zone, or whenever the power comes up from the beneath, this fracture zones releases its power on the surface of the earthquake. So wherever the center of the earthquake happens on the land, it is called epicenter. I will explain it later in detail. And wherever the fault zone is there, we call it hypocenter. Okay, hypocenter and epicenter is there on the land. Okay, clear till now? So now in previous slide arc and some section of the globe. Let's say here is one plate boundary, okay, inside the earth. This is one plate, this is another plate, and here I found one fault zone. So this fault zone I will call it as hypocenter, from where the earthquake is originating, which is the main cause of the earthquake, and perpendicular to this area where earthquake made its landfall, or it touches the crust just above the hypocenter, I will call it epicenter. So whenever seismologists are dealing with earthquakes, these two terms are very important in terms of detecting the earthquake, where it happened, where was the center, and then they will calculate the distance from the recording station to the epicenter. Okay, and these are the primary steps to analyze a earthquake. Okay, see, from this image we can understand the phenomenon of plate boundary moving and We can see these two, one, are both oceanic plates shown here in gray color. Okay, now they are divergent plate boundary because Pacific plate is going away from John de Fuca plate. Okay, so they are divergent plate boundary, and here there will be a formation of mid oceanic ridge, because as they go away magma will come up and deposit on these both two plates, forming a ridge. Okay, but if we see second plate, John de Fuca plate, it is converging with this continental North American plate. It is diverging with Pacific plate but converging towards North American plate. That means it will go beneath the North American plate, because obviously oceanic plates show negative buoyancy, and this subduction zone here, the fault here is very prone for earthquakes, as we can see, a subduction zone earthquake. So it is a very famous earthquake zone, and in the yellow markers you can see different earthquake zones here, because at different places plate boundaries show different intensity of subduction and earthquakes. Is that okay? Now if we see our example of Taiwan, if we see example of here, in between the island the plate divide, and here was the epicenter. Okay, it was very near to the plate boundary. Here was the epicenter of the plate, and one more important thing is there to note is Taiwan comes on this plate boundary. That means there is some land portion over this plate boundary. But what if there was no land on this plate boundary and this comes, it will be converted into tsunami. And Indo-Pacific countries. Okay, so as it is the epicenter is on the land on the island of Taiwan, that's why it is an earthquake. If it would have been in the entirely in ocean, it will surely convert into a tsunami. Is that clear? I think in brief that all I can say about the plate boundary natures of Taiwan and the contraction of Eurasian and Philippine sea plate. We can go on and on discussing about different plate in different ones. Like Philippine plate, it's a local plate, but Eurasian plate is a major plate. Like there are lots and lots of local regional plates and big plates like Indian plate and Eurasian plate. They interact. If one plate is converging with another, that means it is surely diverging with another. Okay, so we can go on and on with this plate discussions, but I think in briefly this is all I can say about the incident, which is I feel tragic. I feel very bad about this Taiwan incident. This saddened me very deeply, because we are oceanographers, and when this kind of things, when these extremities come from the ocean, that affects us, right? So I think you guys have understood how this happened and why this happens. And if another earthquake comes or a tsunami comes, you will be able to keep track of those with respect to the plate they land on. Okay, and I'll keep making this video on the current events going on in ecologically and in oceanography regime, and I think we'll meet soon. So I hope this video suits you well and you get lot of things to learn from this video. If you have any another topic or any another incident like this, whether it's an oil spill or earthquake or a tsunami, you can just pin it down, you can just comment it down in the comment box, and I'll try to make video on that. Okay, so till then, bye bye, take care.